Right, morning guys, so welcome back to NZ Motor Outlaw Kustoms. So, sorry I got the heater on again, it's noisy, it's just freaking cold. So, I've got a tiny little bit of finishing work to do on that trim for the outside I made. But I'm going to have a little bit of a clean up, just have a bit of a sort out, got plant for probably an hour, and then I'm going to get into finishing the rest of the tail light. Get that all cleaned up and whatever. So that'll be basically the next video. There's a bit of panel beating to do in here. As you can see, it's a bit bent up and twisted. And also we're going to sort out a few little issues. I'm only going to probably be here for half the day today, and then I've got to go do some other stuff. So yeah, but I'll have a clean up here, get that out of the road, and then we'll get into working on this. I won't show cleaning up the rest of the trim on the light. I might just show it to when I'm finished, you know, when we're sort of doing a bit of this. But yeah, I'll get cleaning up while the place is warming up a little bit, and we'll get into it. Also, thanks for some of the really nice comments that are starting to come through with doing that trim. Really, this is basically the other day when I made that little piece for that other light, and making that. I've used aluminium a few times over the years, a little bit, and I used it quite a lot when I was making, when I did a lot of roofing stuff, but I haven't done a lot of, I wouldn't say I've done a lot of hammer forming and bits and pieces. The odd little thing I've used, that might have been a handful of bits and pieces I've made, so I am still learning, but just from what I've picked up from watching people and all those sorts of things, you know, maybe in another year's time when I've been doing this stuff a bit more, you know, I'll better make that piece way faster, but I'm still learning, so it takes time to work these things out. So really it's time and patience, and especially working with aluminium and trying to make little trim pieces like that. If it stops moving, or you feel like it's not moving as fast as it did for start off, yeah, anneal it. So if you've got an oxyacetylene, carbon it up, turn your acetylene on, get a dirty flame, carbon it up, and then get a clean flame, and just gently warm it up. Don't keep your flame one place, otherwise you'll melt it. But just gently warm it up around the piece, whatever shape it is, until the carbon burns off, until it comes clean. It'll just, all of a sudden it'll be black, and then all of a sudden it'll just come clean. As soon as it burns off, it's annealed, and then you're just going to let it cool. Yeah, and then just start working it again, and you'll find it'll move way quicker. So if you're doing it quite a complex shape like I was doing, and it's had a lot of hammering, it'll get to a point where it just feels like it's not moving very fast. So yeah, just anneal it and go again. It's just time and patience. It's all it really is. Now if you can make a form or something like that, even if it adds out of a bit of hardwood or something like that, to start your forming and start your shaping, yeah, do that. But yeah, it just takes time and patience. Especially, you know, if you're doing it for yourself, the time doesn't really matter, you know, as long as the end result is, and you're happy with it, you know, you just keep improving. Yeah, you'll work it out eventually, you know. But anyway, I'll get cleaning up, and then we'll get on to the rest of the light. Alrighty guys, so I had a bit of a clean up, and we should put the windscreen frame in the car. I don't know if you can see over there or not. I'll bring it over here anyway. I put the windscreen frame in the car to measure, to try and organise some rubber to go around that, obviously to seal. So yeah, we're still trying to, biggest problem is the couple of places that are here in New Zealand that you can order a lot of the stuff off the these really old vintage cars. We're only open 2 or 3 days a week, so we're just trying to work all that out so we can maybe organise that tomorrow when they're open. So we've worked out the windscreen rubbers, we worked out the webbing, lacing stuff that goes between the hood tops and sides for the grill and that. We've worked that out and I've written all the numbers down and how much we need. Still trying to work out what we're going to do for the cowl, for the seal for that. But I've drawn a, well, quickly show you what we've got going on. Kinda. Right, so there's lots of different shapes, rubbers and bits and pieces. So on here, I've written down most of what we want. Unfortunately, I can't find a normal pen, so I've been using this builder's pencil. So I've written down the windscreen rubbers, the webbing lace stuff for the cowl and the hood. Now, unfortunately I broke this before. I got another couple of pieces floating around. I've drawn the shape of it on here. I actually put some permanent marker on there and then stuck it on there and then filled the rest in and took some rough measurements in millimetres. And we need some of these rivets to hold the lace on. Only on the cowl end, I think. I don't think the grill shell's got them in it. I think it goes through the little holes in the surround, and then when the screws go through to hold the radiator, and I think that helps hold it, if you know what I mean. Or the little bolts or whatever. So that's the main stuff here. So we're trying to work that out. We've got pretty much everything else. So I've got a profile thing here. I'm not sure really this is accurate to size, and I think it is. A couple of the different bits and pieces, and rubbers and seals and crap we can get. Plus we've actually got a lot of different light bulbs that we might be able to get to do stuff. We're actually going to have to see if I can find whether we can get a couple of new bases where the light bulbs go in. I don't know whether they sell them or not, some of these guys. And that's also the braided spark plug high tension leads. So yeah, we can get all of that sort of stuff. These guys are actually closing down in a freaking couple of months, which kind of sucks. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. A lot of these smaller places like these guys have been open 40 odd years. They're just struggling in these times, so they're just shutting up shop. Sucks. Yeah, hopefully one of the other ones might take over. There's actually some Chrysler guys in Dunedin that maybe I might talk to them one day and just see, because they do a lot of Chrysler stuff. You should say that you should jump on getting this sort of stuff, and it might be just an extra little piece, that you can do. Whether they might do it or not, I don't know. I haven't talked to them. But yeah, and there's another place that we've been corresponding through, but a lot of their part numbers are the same, so it probably comes from the same place. But yeah, we're just trying to organise that and work out what we need. Yeah, and the windscreen rubber, it needs to be about that deep as the maximum. That leaves a nice little piece to come up against the lip on the body on this piece. So yeah, but I don't know if these nuts are going to do the job either. I don't know. We might have to do something different there. Biggest problem is I don't know what was there originally. And that's totally different. That's a hard top, whereas this is a soft top. So anyway, I'll carry on and I'll talk to you again in a minute. Right, I was going to show you this, but I kind of did it with off camera because I was talking to somebody on a video call. But
This here was soldered in here, but it was very crappily done, and this is just bent and mangled, so I've desoldered that. If I get back here later on, after I've done my jobs, I'll start hammering that out and fixing it up. It's not that bad, it's mainly just the back part of it, and a couple of little bits I think around the side. I think the rest of it's pretty good, apart from needing a clean up, if you know what I mean. I think everything else is pretty reasonable. This might have been chrome at some stage. I wonder. Or nickeled. Studebaker type 0. So this isn't it? I'm just trying to look through the camera. Something like that. So yeah, I'll panel beat that, and then this will have to be, I guess, soldered back in. I'll try and do it from, I might try and flow it in from the back, so it's not so much crap around here, because it was all weird and stuff like that. I'll just heat it up with a gas torch to get it out. This is still fine. Springs and all that still feel fine with the contact. I'm not even sure whether I'm going to use this, to be honest. We'll see, because I'm going to have to build a light stem and everything for it, because it's missing as far as I can tell. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here yet, because this is a bit of a funny thing. In some ways it'd be just easier to build a stem with a plate with a tube on it, and just put a like a rubber O-ring or something in there, and then have the wires come through and just have that stem push up against the O-ring, I guess, so it's sealed, and then see if we can do something with these for the contacts, if you know what I mean, and make that a bit better too. Work out something a little bit more modern, maybe modern fitting or something. We'll see. Work that out. Might have to do a wee bit of retrofitting, just so it's a little bit easier maybe to find not so much to find a bowl, but because this is falling to bits, the light fitting on that, we might be able to just put something a little bit more better in there, and just have a couple, 3 or 4 wires hanging through that go down through the tube, and then put a plug on it somewhere, if you know what I mean. Work something out. Not sure what yet, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of modern plugs, that are quite small that you can fit inside a tube. You can pull the wire, unplug it as you're undoing the nuts off the back. Pull it out and pull something apart, and then work along the little modern weather sockets with half a dozen wires poking down through it that would just fit, in a tube. It's just got to fit in. Fits down in there. So, you can get quite a decent sized tube, and obviously it sits out about here somewhere with the tail light bracket, wherever that's floating around now. Not sure. I was looking at it the other day, but yeah, still got to go through that too. Where I set that. Doesn't matter, but I'm away for the rest of the day. Just had a messy morning. I thought I was going to get more done, but it didn't. Not that I really cleaned up. I just put a lot of tools away and just had a bit of a quick sort out, if you know what I mean. And then we spent frickin' a while sifting through frickin' websites and crap, trying to figure out those seals and stuff, like the last bits and pieces, trying to work out a cow seal mainly, and the windscreen ones, just to see how long they were, because a couple of sites here, it took me on my phone. It was a little bit awkward to search. That's the worst thing with trying to search on your phone sometimes. It can be a bit awkward. Sites don't work quite the same as what they do when you're on a normal computer. Anyway, we'll catch you later on. Right, so I think this in 4 takes, without making it 3 hours long. Righty, so welcome back to Easy Mode for Outlaw Kustoms. So, and it's Wednesday. Left them Monday afternoon to try and organise plane flights, and this is to come back from Australia She's been over there a couple of months seeing her brother because he's got motor neuron disease. He was diagnosed partway through last year. I'm trying to shorten this up. And about Christmas time they diagnosed him last year, and he's gone from, basically now he's almost can't talk. Basically he can't feed himself, can't dress himself, can barely go to the toilet and have a piss. And let alone the other side of it, basically he needs 24-hour care and all that sort of stuff. He's buggered. So you should spend the last couple of months over there just seeing him and whatever, and trying to get those last few memories in, I guess, and seeing her brother because it's the only one she's got. But she thought she was probably going to stay there until maybe he passed, but she's kind of had enough. I've just, with the other things going on over there as well, a few family squabbles getting on. Like her and one of her sisters don't even talk and other shit, so she's not even sure why. But anyway, because it's only one-sided, if you know what I mean. But, so she's kind of fucking had enough. She was planning on staying there, maybe a couple or 3 more months. Sort of, we don't really know, if you know what I mean, but so she wanted to come home. So, yeah, it took me probably a week or so to get enough money together. I thought it would be enough to pay for the flights and crap. So I spent a day and a half trying to frickin' sort that between phone calls and talking to them. This is trying to see what she really wanted to do, because with being so close together and with all the stupid shit going on with international flights, and there's not as many flights as there used to be because there's still not as many people travelling around and nobody's got any fucking money anymore, sort of type bullshit. So yeah, it was a bit complicated trying to get flights from Tasmania, Australia, which is a little island down the bottom if you didn't know, to one of the cities in the mainland, like either Melbourne or Sydney or wherever, and then to fly across to New Zealand. We did have it planned, but it just wasn't going to work. Well, just a general thought, we'll get it from Tasmania to Melbourne to Queenstown, which is only a couple of hours away, which is the closest international, and I'd go up there and pick her up and bring her home. But yeah, it got way more complicated. She ended up having to stay overnight somewhere and just, yeah, lots of fucking around basically. So it took a wee bit of sorting just to try and make it work between me finding out what was the flights were available and then talking to Rachel and then getting back to the frickin' people organising the flights. Again, like I would normally do it online, but just shit being so weird, sometimes it's easier just to get them to do it. It's not any more expensive at the moment. They're doing it pretty cheap, like compared with what's online. It's not much different. It might cost you an extra $20 for less headaches, if you know what I mean, because they know all the ins and outs and who to tick and what to frickin' ask and all that sort of bullshit. Whereas, especially with some of the paperwork that's got to be done with all this COVID crap, so it's just easy to talk to them and do it. But yeah, it was a lot of phone tag yesterday, because I was going to go into the town and get it done, but there was a lot of phone tag, just because I was trying to find passport details and stuff like that. I thought I had copies of them at home, like scanned copies, but I couldn't find them, and then I was trying to see if they had still had the details from when we organised it a wee while ago, and they did. So yeah, but it was a lot of to and from. But she's even having to go from Tasmania to Sydney to Christchurch, lands in there just basically midnight, and then jumps on a plane at about 6 o'clock in the morning to come back right back to here, to the local airport, which is half an hour away. So yeah, but yeah, it wasn't that cheap. It wasn't horrendously expensive, like $1,600, but like 2 years ago, it would have been like, for the two of them, might have been freaking $700 or $800. So yeah, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. So yeah, but it just took a lot of fucking around to get that sorted. So Yeah, her brother will be lucky to be here by Christmas time, maybe. He might get further than that, but he's poor bugger, he's like, yeah, basically he can't feed himself, can barely talk, and almost can't walk. He really can't walk, but he can kind of shuffle around a little bit, if you know what I mean. Any long distance, he's basically going to get in a chair or a little frickin' thing to help him. Like, he can't hold himself up with his arms, he can't feed himself or anything, can't dress himself, so yeah, poor bugger. But anyway, and he's only like 41 or whatever it is, 42 maybe. So I think his birthday's a wee bit later in the year, so he's 41. But yeah, so that's been my last day and a half, trying to organise that. Anyway, so we'll get back to this tower. Righty. I wasn't planning on going that far, but there was so many freaking nicks and marks and stuff in it. And there's still a few, but at least it's down now and it's reasonable to being cleaned up. Yeah, at some point I might go a bit further and just take a few more of them out. I wasn't too worried about some of the ones around the side, but I was just trying to get rid of the worst of the shit out of it. Obviously it's just a hammering surface. I'm just trying to use it as a dolly at the moment because I haven't got anything else. That's got a decent depth. Like I said, I might try and go buy a cheapish set. Have a hunt, because I know there's some cheap sets that I might better weld make up a few post dollies with this sort of thing, but up high on a bit of frickin' a wee bit of plate and weld it on there at some point in the next couple of weeks or something like that if I get a chance. But yeah, we'll see. We'll get back to hammering. But yeah, we'll get back to hammering on this now. So I sort of kind of flattened out a little bit, so I'll hammer the rest down in here, I think, to a degree. And then yeah, we might have to go back the other way again until we get it this reasonable. Right, so I wanted to make a better form of this, but there's a couple of spots in here I just want to hammer a little bit on here, because there's a couple, this was all mangled up, and obviously you see me clean. I try to clean this up and get it reasonably flat and reasonably clean, to get rid of any highs and lows and lumps and stuff on it. I actually need to break the edge a little bit, it's not too bad, it's a little sharp. It's not bad though. So try to do that so I can get a good surface to hammer on, and obviously get this in here to try and hammer some of the bits up and down a little bit to try and get it to flatten out a little bit. But there's a few gouges and a few marks in it, but there's not much I can do about it. I could probably get a little bit more of some of them out, but what I'm trying to do is actually, in here where it was crushed down, there's a few little just wonky wavy spots in there, so I just try to make a bit of a form to right angle. Just try and see if it's sitting flat. I thought I had it flat, maybe I don't. No, I'll just have to nick a little bit off the back here, I think. Actually, I'll just follow off a little bit. It's just not quite sitting the right angle. It's close. How are you? Gouge and rust in the middle and everything else. Some of those marks. It's not too bad now. Still not perfect through here, but it's better. Again, it's down low. A couple of coats of high build and another wee sand off it, won't be anywhere as bad. It's not bad. I think everything else should be okay, I think. Should be okay, I think. Spot there. Right, so I've given this a fairly good clean up. I gave it another quick media blast just to try and get any last little bits of frickin' shit off it. I've just wiped it down with some wax and grease remover. I'm just trying to find my edge. So we'll give it a coat on the inside and then we'll give it a coat on the outside, and then it'll be ready for next stages also. I'm pretty happy with the bodywork. Hopefully you can see that alright. Let's come around here so I can see what I'm looking at. So it's pretty even, it's pretty smooth now and whatever. Anything else I'll get with a little bit of body filler and some high build. You know, because it's going to be painted with obviously 2-pack paint, because it's, you know, on the outside of the car, so it needs to be painted something decent. Whereas some of these other little bits and pieces are underneath the hood and in the engine bay and stuff like that. Yeah, a little bit of rattle can here and there, or the old bracket underneath doesn't really matter if it's not painted with 2-pack paint, if you know what I mean. But something like this, you know, you kind of want it decent. So I'll let that dry on the inside. But what we need to do now, we've got no bracket to hold that up. Let's see out the back of the car. Now, I'm just wondering, I'm not sure, but I'm just wondering, I've got some tube here. Look, I've got another whole length of that. Well, I mean a whole length, like 6 foot of it. I'm not sure if that's big enough for me or not. So what I need to do is go find some. I've actually got a couple of pieces of steel I need to take back, because I don't think I've got anything. So wherever we measure, let's find out how big that is. And I need a bit of tube to come up to here, to put the tail light on and to hang that bracket on. Wherever that bloody bracket is, what do I do with that the other day? Because I need to obviously panel beat and clean that up. And I've also got the other brackets for the engine bay stuff I've got to clean up as well. But yeah, it'd be nice to fabricate that, because there's a hole here. So I'll whip this off and get this out of the way. So you can see what I'm talking about. All we need is the element. And I didn't need battery in this. So that's an inch. Thereabouts. And if the yeah, thereabouts anyway. That stuff. So it's 19 mil. 3/4. And that's basically inch. So it's never going to squeeze up to that, so it's not quite an inch. Yeah, so it's about 20-ish. So yeah, I need a length of, I don't need much, half a metre would do. Couple of, like, 1.5 foot to make that, and I should have enough steel there to make a backing for the bracket, because I'd like to, that's got that electrical plug that fits in the back, I don't want that there. I just want to have it so the bracket's in, the wiring goes down through here, and then we can hide it underneath. Instead of that funny bracket in there, I'd rather do something a bit better than that. So yeah. So I need a bit of inch or thereabouts tube. and whatever. I should have everything else here roughly to make that. Yeah. And about. And at some point we'll get some nuts or something for the back of that if we haven't got anything. That bracket. So yeah, I'll go sort some of that stuff out and then we can hear them making that after lunch. How am I going to bend that? I've got that frickin', I don't know if that will do that or not. It might be enough. Bend that tube. I might be able to sneak it in there and bend it in that. Maybe. Whether I better force it to do some inch, I don't know. So it's for 3/4. Not bad, not bad. Just to give it, you know, just a nice wee radius. Yeah, we'll get some stuff sorted and we'll make a bracket for the back of that. Back of that tail light. Righty, so I got some tube, unfortunately it's stainless, but it is 1 inch, or 25.4 mil. But yeah, I was hunting for that, found it, so I started cleaning it up. And you ever wonder what the original colour of this car was, or one of these cars was? Can I show you? Turn around and try and show you. So I'll finish cleaning this bracket up. I'll take rid of the blue paint, get rid of the blue paint, but I just wanted to show some evidence. I'll straighten this bracket out, and then we'll work out what we need to do to put this on there and see if we can bend it. All I could get was some stainless. Without ordering 6 fucking meters, well that's half a meter, or thereabouts. So yeah, I don't want to buy 6 meters of it. It probably would have been fine, like I probably would have used it for something eventually, but you know what I mean? Just in the meantime, until we get a few jobs under our belt and whatever, and then we'll eventually collect some bits of frickin', you know, as you do, you know, as you're doing each job, you end up buying the length of this and the length of that for small jobs. You end up with bits and pieces left over, and then you eventually start building up some stock. But until we can get to that point, well, I don't want to go buy 6 meters of it if I'm never going to use it again, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so that's 1.6 mil wall, so that's the same as exhaust tubing, or that light furniture tubing. But yeah, all I could get in that was 1 1/4, which just won't fit in that bracket. Well, I could have, you know, cut it and shrunk it in. 1 1/4 probably could have done that if I really needed to. But yeah. So, and it looks like this was welded, would have been originally welded into it. So that might have stepped down, maybe. Don't know. Anyway, so we'll clean that out, but we'll get that, sit that in the car, work out roughly where the number plate's going to be. There's the lights out here and the number plate's down here, so obviously it hangs over and shines down on it. It would be no good the other way because it wouldn't hang properly. Obviously tube welds on from the back and then bends down and goes into that piece, so I need to roughly work out where this is going to be and go from there. So, and then hopefully I can bend that. If not, I can go back to where I got it from in the little local shop, and they'll, if I can give them a rough idea of how much I want bent, they'll form it in their benders. These guys that I got it from make a lot of truck related parts They do a lot of engineering for truck stuff. Mainly, they do a lot of what do you want to call it, agricultural fertilisation gear for trucks for spreading fertiliser. So that's why this is probably stainless. But yeah, it's just not. It wasn't easy to get hold of. I tried a couple, 3 different places, and I even tried a couple of little exhaust shops in town here. Most of you, as smallest they get is 1 1/4, and I was like, fucking heck. It's got to be 1 inch because that's what the hole is in the fucking chassis. Anyway, yeah, go from there. Worst comes to worst, I might better use that little bender and just heat it and gently, you know, and pull it around if I need to, but otherwise we'll use that former. But yeah, we'll get this cleaned up and straightened up and we'll have a little look. Righty, so I've just been doing some referencing on some pictures off Google. Great help. Sometimes they'll Google. Not 100% quite the right angles. I'm just throwing this up here just for a weird reference. It looks like this light is about the same level as this here, and then sticks out about the same as what the spare wheel is, or close to it, if you know what I mean. So this one needs to come up and then in about here somewhere. So a little bit of a rough estimation and just work out where we're going to. So I think if I just kind of hold that about there. So I think being's probably going to start about the end right here. See what we can do. Just have to work out what the radius is on that roughly, but I'm thinking, what are we talking? Find a marker. I'll do sort of a quick mark on this so I can get a rough ballpark and pull it out. Here somewhere. I think it started to bend about here-ish. And went up and then actually got an angle sign here somewhere. I might just try and, you know. I think I've got one here somewhere. I did have. So we'll find it. Right. So yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if this is even going to work in here. I don't fucking think it is. Damn it. Fucking being around there or not? No, it's not going to work. Damn it. Yeah, I might have to get those guys to bend it. Unfortunately. Oh yeah. I thought it might have worked in there. It's too small. Unfortunately, I don't want to crush it and bend it and kink it. So I did find that other form, but it's the same size. It's again for 3/4 pipe, not for frickin' inch. Yeah, and I didn't find my angle finder. It'll be one of those things I won't be wanting it one day and I'll just see it amongst all the crap. must have been that and then find out exactly where I need to cut it off. Damn it. If I get a piece of that scrap conduit, I'll just make a rough mock-up of it, and then I'll get them to bend it. Sure though, they probably won't charge me, they're pretty good guys in there. See how we get on. Righty, so I just welded up the holes in here because they were all freaking flogged out, and just re-drilled them back to sort of the standard sort of size, I guess, or close to the standard size. So at least now we can, because they were out to, I don't know, probably could have put a almost a 3/8 bolt through there, whereas, you know, these aren't even anywhere near that, which is meant to, you know, that's all meant to hold that on. If I take this bit out here, that's what holds it on. It's just the piece in the light, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's just that through here. Whatever way that, is that the right way? Doesn't matter anyway. That holds that through here, if you know what I mean. And that will have the pipe coming through here and 2 nuts on that. So yeah, that's all that holds it on is those 2. So yeah, got that cleaned up, got that fixed. I got to do a wee bit of dress up on it, and just make it a little bit tidier so it can be nice when it's painted. So yeah, so I got that sorted. I'm not sure if I showed you this or not. So I bent up a bit of conduit to get this to mimic. So I'm about due to go to drop this off to the place where I got this bit of stainless from, the stainless tube, and see if they can at least mimic. I'm not worried about the curve itself, but as long as we can get this to line up here, because I don't know what radius their bend or die is, but as long as we can get it to match up here, we won't be far away, and then I can chop off the excess and weld that to that, and yeah, go from there. Basically, I need to work out some way to do this wiring. What I'm going to do here, I'm not quite sure. I need to find some sort of weatherproof, modern weatherproof plug that will fit in there. Because neither of these are earthed, they're just earthed through this, I'm guessing. But I think I'll probably put earths through for a lot of things. Even though it is positive earth, I'll put a, you know, a earth through for some of those things, or at least put a wire on it and then earth it somewhere else in the body, if you know what I mean, and put a little weather tight plug in there, just so I'm not having to work with the funny contact system that's on this originally. I want to try and get rid of this, because otherwise, you know, we're going to have to try and make, you know, this sort of thing work for in here. I'd rather, you know, that's a pain in the ass. I'd rather better just undo those and then pull it out and unclip a little frickin' weatherproof plug, and then, you know, and it can just sit there, if you know what I mean. So yeah, just have enough slack on it so you can pull it out, you know, frickin' half a foot or a foot, you know, have enough wiring that you can just pull the loop out of it and plug her in. You know, a few places like that where you can hide a half-by decent weather socket. I'll just have to look to see what I can find in some sort of modern setup with some nice little seals that will seal up and won't give any issues, if you know what I mean. So yeah, just a matter of, because there's plenty of that sort of stuff around, it's just a matter of finding something that you can buy or get hold of easy, that's easily replaceable, if need be. But yeah. And then I will, like I said, I think I'll try and find a better freaking light socket thing that we can replace these with, and just have, you know, obviously 2 feeds in a common earth out of there. So that'll be that. So I might go see if I can get this bent, and we'll carry on with that in the morning. Yeah. I should have had this done before now and gone and done this slightly earlier, but we had a visitor that was a bit hard to get rid of. Stayed and waffled for a while. But that's life. That's unfortunately, but yeah, just what happens. But yeah, it came up good. It won't take much to clean up now. Bit more of a clean up, and we'll better weld that on. I know it's not ideal, welding stainless to mild steel, but that can be done. At the end of the day, well, this isn't going to rust much, is it? And it's going to be painted, so it's just one of those things. It's just what I could get hold of. So sometimes it's just, you know, like I said, I don't want to go buy 6 metres of it. The cost of some stuff now, so you know, that's something we can get a few other cars along the road. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll tell you what, if I ever build something using an old body, like something 20s or 30s or something like that, I'm actually going to build, I'd actually like to build roll cage into the body itself. So instead of having a roll cage and then the body over top, I'd actually like to fab the roll cage as part of the body and hide it so it was really strong if it did have to get hit. I see a lot of people build older cars using those sorts of bodies, and I just think, man, if you ever get hit, they're not very strong, especially some of the stuff that's, you know, they had a lot of wooden framing in it, and sometimes some vehicles just aren't built. There's a lot of guys who go out and they put a lot of strength back into them, but a lot of people don't. They just have a fairly flimsy sort of body with a few braces in it here there to stiffen it up, you know, and they're just not terribly strong. It's not so bad if they were almost a full steel body, a bit like the Dodge that's going to be here later on, even though it's convertible, but like they were full steel frame, so, you know, body shell, so I wouldn't say that they were strong, but like at least they're a bit more guts in them. But a lot of the ones that had no wood left in it, you know, and they've bought a bit of a body in it around. Well, some of them just aren't that strong. When you watch them, you see a lot of guys, you know, they'll build roll cages in them because they've got high horsepower, but I'd just like to build almost a discrete roll cage into some of it, you know, so like at least some of the main areas have got a good strength in it without having all the crossbars and shit in it, but build it so it's fairly solid, and then hide it in behind internal sheet metal sort of thing. Actually build a cage into it, like a half cage, if you want to call it that, if you know what I mean. Have a bit of guts in it, so if it did happen to get hit, it's got a bit of strength. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow.